The hope is still very much alive with the Green Bay Packers beating the Miami Dolphins yesterday 26-20, moving their record up to 7-8 with 2 games left in the season. The Packers' playoff hopes are definitely still alive. As each week passes by, this percentage keeps going up and up. Every single thing the Packers needed to happen this weekend happened. On Saturday, the 4 teams they needed to lose lost: the New York Giants, the Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions, and the Seattle Seahawks. But let's quickly go over my thoughts and reactions to this previous game, Packers-Dolphins. Going into this game, I knew it was going to be a tough one, but nonetheless, the Packers had to win out in order to keep their playoff hopes alive, and the Packers have been a very good team under Matt LaFleur in the month of December. They're now on a 3-game winning streak, and they continue to not lose in the month of December, heading down to Miami, beating them by 6 points. And the first half looked a little sketchy. I mean, it looked like the Packers weren't going to win this game. It was kind of neck and neck, but then at halftime, the Dolphins went up by another 7 points. But what was very impressive was that second half of football, something we really haven't seen from the Green Bay Packers this whole year. A very, very good second half of football, almost perfect second half of football. The Packers scoring 13 points in the third and fourth quarter and allowing the Dolphins a whopping 0 points in the third and fourth quarter, basically giving the Packers the win 26-20 and keeping their playoff hopes alive, heading to play Minnesota next week in Lambeau. As for the Packers offense, there wasn't really much going, but they did what they had to do, scoring 26 points. And mainly it was because the defense gave them the ball a lot. The Packers honestly should have scored more than 26 points. Credit to the Miami Dolphins defense. Their run defense was outstanding, even their pass defense. The Dolphins are a very good football team. They have a good pass defense. Aaron Rodgers finished 24 of 38, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, got sacked twice, and had a quarterback rating of 78.6. So not really a hot game by any means by Aaron Rodgers, but he did enough to win this football game, in correspondence with what the defense did. As for the rushing, the Packers did not have a good day running the ball at all. Like I said, the Miami Dolphins run defense was outstanding yesterday. A.J. Dillon, 11 carries for 36 yards, a 3.3 average. He did have a touchdown. Aaron Jones, another quiet day. I don't know if Aaron Jones is still technically hurt or they're keeping him on a really low snap count, because I feel like these past few weeks we've seen less and less of Aaron Jones. I have no idea why, because I feel like earlier this season it was like, how are you not giving Aaron Jones the ball? But hey, if the Packers are winning football games, I can't really be that mad at the success. So Aaron Jones ran for 6 carries, 25 yards, 4.2 average. Aaron Rodgers also ran 7 times for 18 yards. Nice to see Aaron Rodgers getting around, running a little bit. Donald Levitt had a rush on that fake punt. That was insane. I did not expect that, the Packers to run a fake punt that deep in their own territory. But hey, I guess that's when you try to catch the other special teams off guard and do it. It didn't work. Really weird call there, especially in the position they were in that game. But hey, the Packers still ended up winning. As for receiving, Allen Lazard was the Packers' leading receiver, 5 receptions, 61 yards, had a very nice catch on that 42-yard catch there, and on 11 targets as well. Christian Watson, 6 for 49 on 8 targets. It was looking like he was going to have a breakout game in terms of receptions. Then after halftime, he never returned with a hip injury. Now, after the game, he was, talked to by reporters, and he pretty much said he's not worried about it. He said it's not a big deal, and now that, of course, that's right after the game, and he might feel different this morning, but as of right now, it's not a big deal, so I don't expect it to be anything long-term. Hopefully, he'll be ready to go this week against Minnesota. We will definitely need him. Christian Watson is becoming one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets, even on that 1 4th down, and a couple other times, Aaron Rodgers looking right his way. Romeo Doubs was third with 3 receptions for 36 yards. Mercedes Lewis with probably his biggest game all year. 2 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Pat Taylor with a nice reception, his first reception on the year for 17 yards up the sideline there on that one play. Robert Tonyan, 1 for 13. A.J. Dillon, 2 for 12. Aaron Jones, 2 for 9. Randall Cobb, 1 for 5. And Josiah Deguara, 1 for 4. As for the defense, this defense definitely won this football game in terms of creating turnovers and winning the turnover battle, allowing the Green Bay Packers to get the ball back and put up enough points to win this game. Adrian Amos led the defense in tackles with 11 total tackles. Jerron Reed, also a really nice game, probably his best game as a Packer, had 6 total tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and also that very, very crucial fumble recovery there. Preston Smith had 5 tackles, also a sack. So the Packers only had 2 sacks, but nonetheless, they created turnovers and really shut down that Miami Dolphins offense in the second half. And this Miami Dolphins offense is super, super dangerous. I mean, we saw it with both Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Waddle had 5 receptions, 143 yards, and a touchdown. Of course, that long of a 84-yard touchdown where he basically ran a simple drag and then took it up the sideline. Jair missed a pretty easy tackle, and he took it all the way for 84 yards. So you go into this game and you expect Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to beat you in some way, shape, or form. Now, to have a total of 246 yards, that's a lot. That is definitely a lot, especially when you have the talent that you have in Jair Alexander, Rasul Douglas, Keyshawn Nixon, Adrian Amos. So, you wouldn't expect to shut these guys down by any means, but they definitely did tear up this Packers secondary. Waddle with 143, Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions, 103 yards. Outside of that, no one else on the Dolphins got that many receiving yards. Trent Sherfield got 2 receptions for 25 yards, and Mike Gesicki 1 for 24. As for the running game, I feel that the Packers couldn't stop it early, but then as the game went on and the Dolphins needed to pass the ball more, that's when the Packers started to take this game away. If the Dolphins had the lead the entire time and they could just simply run the football, they probably would have won this game. Raheem Mostert had 8 carries for 45 yards, 5.6 average. Jeff Wilson, 9 for 37, 4.1 average. That's all. They only had 18 carries for 82 yards. So the Packers held them under 100 yards rushing, which is outstanding, considering what the Dolphins like to do under McDaniel. So I give that a positive. They definitely held them in check because they made them a one-dimensional team, having to pass the ball, and that's where they created their turnovers. They made Tua Tagovailoa really flustered in that second half. He finished the game 16 for 25, 310 yards. He had 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions, was sacked 2 times, and had a quarterback rating of 80.8. And pretty much all 3 interceptions were just also really poor throws by Tua. 1 to Jair Alexander, 1 to Devondre Campbell, and then also 1 to Rasul Douglas to pretty much seal the game. But the Packers, nonetheless, right place, right time. They're in the defense that, stumped Tua. I believe the one to Rasul, I think they were in a cover 2, and Tua saw that and thought he could hit the corner route right between the corner and the safety, and Rasul did a really, really good job reading that and dropping right into that zone the moment Tua thought he had it. So I will give credit to Rasul there. You could say, oh, that's a terrible throw. It's right to Rasul Douglas. But in my eyes, it was more so Rasul reading what Tua and that offense wanted to do there based on the defense they were running and dropping right to where they wanted to go. And that's exactly what happened and pretty much won that game. So this defense, again, held the Miami Dolphins offense scoreless in the second half and had a wonderful performance. So as of right now, the Green Bay Packers playoff chances sit right at around 30%, depending on what website you look into, which is pretty wild because a couple weeks ago it was at around 4%, and a lot of things that had to go their way went their way, especially this weekend. And if the Packers win out and we base it off of no other games, which obviously they're going to need, I think, a couple more things to go right. I'm going to make a video on that right after this, so be on the lookout for that as well. But they jump up to right around a 90% chance to make the playoffs if the Packers simply just win out. So it's looking more and more likely like this could happen. But there's still going to be 2 very, very tough games coming up against the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. The Packers, first and foremost, have to figure that out. They have to beat the Vikings where, we saw in week 1 what the Minnesota Vikings did against the Packers. They have to go into this game with a plan to stop Justin Jefferson and that running attack with Dalvin Cook. They got to put Jair on Justin Jefferson all game, in my opinion. I'm hoping they learned their lesson from week 1 and they fix that. But I do think the Packers can win this football game. It's in Lambeau. It's in late season, and I do think the Packers can win this football game. But outside of that, then they would have to go, into week 18, play a Detroit Lions team that's pretty hot. They did lose last week, but still, nonetheless, the Detroit Lions team is a lot better this second half than they were in the first half, and they already lost to the Lions team. So it's still obviously not guaranteed that the Packers are going to win out and then make the playoffs. Hey, they could win out and still miss the playoffs. A couple other things have to happen, but nonetheless, every single week, it's getting closer and closer to the Packers actually pulling this off. But that about does it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this, please leave a like down below. Also, if you are new here and want more Packers news, analysis, and updates daily, please consider going down and hitting that subscribe button. But I'll catch you on the next one. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.